You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello, and welcome to episode 126 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, it's your favorite Soul Forge host, Sean, and with me today, making her triumphant return to the podcast after a fairly lengthy absence, is the one, the only, the incredible Miss Tracy.
Hello.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Where the heck have you been? I haven't seen you since March.
Well, you have seen me.
Okay,
but,
we haven't recorded since
right.
March together.
Right. I've kind of been worrying about myself and taking care of myself and doing a lot of saying no, including to you.
Yes, you have said no to me. That's true.
So, people invite me places and sometimes I go and sometimes I don't. It depends on how I feel.
Right. So you've been taking care of your mental health and your well-being.
Yeah.
That's important.
Absolutely. I think I've missed out on some things, but at the same time, I think I've really kind of honed in on the things that are important to me and to my good and positive mental health, and I'm starting to say yes more often now.
So you're feeling better?
Yeah.
Things are good?
Things are good, yeah.
Awesome. So we
Yeah.
might see you a little bit more often on the podcast.
Maybe.
That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we thought what a good idea would be was having you back on. And since I've been in the midst of some lighter-hearted episodes, except for last week's ghosting episode with Brother Robin, the rest have been kind of lighthearted.
Okay.
And so what we're going to do is talk about some of our favorite comedians and maybe tell each other some of our favorite jokes.
I can't wait. I'm terrible at jokes, but I have some on my phone, so
So you're cheating.
I'm totally cheating.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's fair.
That's okay. I think it's still going to be great. I can't wait to hear yours.
They're awful. And I love them, and I've got two in particular
Okay.
that I tell all the time,
Okay.
and when I'm telling them,
Yep.
I'll be cracking up. Nobody else, they're like, ugh.
Okay, tell one now. Tell
Okay.
one now. Start us off.
Okay. How many flies does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I don't know.
Only two. But nobody knows how they got in there.
What?
You know, like flies. You always see them up in the fluorescent lighting, and like, how'd they get in there? What are they doing? They're screwing. You know, it's like it's a meta joke. It's like two layers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
See, he laughed, but nobody else ever laughs.
I laugh at a lot, though.
You do. You have a very good sense of humor.
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're funny in general, but
Looking?
that's not what I said.
Okay. Just making sure.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So you have some favorite comedians you were telling me.
Yeah, I actually really, in the last year or so, have started watching a lot of comedians on Netflix. They've come out with quite a few new...
Comedy specials?
Comedy specials.
So many.
They're called, yeah. So I've been watching a lot of those and really enjoying it. Some of them are a little more crude. Some of them were a little more clean.
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Noah, I don't know.
He's-
You and I watched one together at my place.
I believe so.
I don't know, a long, long time ago. But so he's got a couple, and he's a lot more clean. Very funny jokes. And he has a book, too, that I read. So I really like him. He's also has a TV show, I think.
Yeah.
Where he has guests.
Mm-hmm.
So he's good. Jim Jeffries is quite on the opposite line, or I don't know, I'm not saying this right, on the opposite end of the line. He's very, crude and stuff, but he's fucking funny. Sorry, he's hilarious.
What about the ventriloquist guy?
Yeah,
Dunham?
I watched
Is it
him.
Dunham?
Yes,
Jeff
Jeff Dunham. My husband wanted to watch him, and I was like, oh, like I don't want to watch a guy with puppets. That just doesn't.
It sounds horrible, but he's actually pretty funny.
Yeah, and he's coming like to Sudbury or something.
Is that
which
right?
Is, just a couple 300 kilometers away from here.
3-hour trip.
But tickets are expensive,
Are they?
actually. Yeah. But yeah, so he was really funny, and there is another guy that I can't think of right now, but I will at some point while we're recording, so I'll mention him too.
We'll come back to it.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I find that I say that a lot. Oh, we'll get back to that in a minute, and then I totally forget.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
Well.
It's okay.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you do a live recording. In front of a
true.
studio audience, of which we don't have. But
We have 2 TVs.
yeah, we do.
We could put like
People's faces on the TVs.
and then it would be like we're actually talking to people that are in front of us.
You know what I've been thinking about doing? I've been thinking about getting like a video camera to have watching the recordings all the time so that I
Yeah.
can just upload it to YouTube.
You should do that.
I'm thinking about it.
Why would you need a video recorder? Why couldn't you use your phone?
I could use my phone, but then if I'm using my phone for like show notes and stuff, it wouldn't work. So I
Right.
want a separate.
Use your iPod.
Maybe that
Right?
maybe I
Could
think
you?
I don't know. I'd have to look into that.
You probably can. I don't know. The quality probably wouldn't be as good.
Yeah, hard to say.
Maybe one of our listeners has an idea.
soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. Let us know the best way to record our recording sessions so that we can put them up on YouTube. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That'd be fun.
appreciate it.
Kind of scary.
Definitely.
I'd have to do my hair better than this.
Your hair looks fine, especially for the recording purposes tonight.
Thanks.
Yes. I was talking to somebody the other day about recording and how we recorded a little mini clip for YouTube that
Yep,
one time
yep.
to get more listeners and subscribers on our YouTube channel, which our listeners should totally be doing.
Yes.
And I didn't realize how expressive my face was.
Oh.
Remember that? I'm like, what is wrong with my face? And you're like, it's always like that. I'm like,
Remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, I remember that recording it,
Mm-hmm.
and I remember where we were sitting and that, but I don't remember having that conversation.
Oh, yeah, it's a thing. I didn't realize my eyebrows are doing different things and my eyes are looking all over the place. And I'm like, oh, I'm very animated,
Oh, that's good though.
I guess.
I think it's good.
But I didn't realize. Kind of weird.
I think I'm very animated.
You can be.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. I purchased a mug from Walmart the other day that says I cannot be responsible for the faces I make while you were speaking.
It's true.
Yeah.
My mom was bad for that.
Yeah.
Holy, she couldn't keep her emotions in check.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where I get it from.
Maybe.
Yeah.
You're good at keeping your emotions in check. You can just see it on your face sometimes.
There you go. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, my face gives me away.
Yeah.
Right. Even if my words do not.
Right.
And speaking of words and
Words.
stand-up comedians and stuff,
Yep.
Brother Robin,
Yes.
he wants to be a stand-up comedian. Apparently, the bar that he works at, every Thursday they either have karaoke or stand-up night.
Right.
And so he wants to do that in a few weeks.
Oh.
So I told him I would go and record it.
Yeah.
And
Awesome.
I don't know when it's happening.
Let me know because I will go.
I will
I
certainly
think
let
Robin's
you know.
funny.
He can be hilarious. I said, are you writing jokes? Are you like practicing? No, but it'll be fine.
That's not true entirely. I think he has some in his head because when I was here last, we were chatting and he was talking about that he wanted to do this, and he told one of the jokes. You don't.
Oh, I
remember
vaguely
that?
remember something
Yeah,
about
and it was pretty freaking funny. I thought it was
that.
funny.
He can be hilarious. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he gets it from his older brother. Who knew? But I don't think I have the confidence to go up on stage and be a comedian.
No, I wouldn't either.
I would
But
love to, or be a rock star.
a rock star.
I always wanted to be a rock star, but I have less than zero talent.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it wouldn't
Like
work.
play guitar, rock star, or like
Play
singer.
singer-songwriter in a band,
Okay.
like Nickelback or something like that.
Yeah.
But like awesome. You know.
I I enjoy Nickelback. But...
I've got some CDs in the case over there of Nickelback too, so I'm just being silly.
Oh, I love everybody likes to make fun of Nickelback.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So speaking of comedians,
Speaking of comedians,
one of my favorites, and he is a stand-up comedian, but he's different. It's Marc Maron.
yes.
And because he is a stand-up, and he's been doing it since the late 80s. He has his own podcast, WTF,
Yes,
which
it's
I
good.
absolutely adore. I love
Yeah.
it. It's my favorite. It's kind of how I've based Soul Forge a little bit. Like he does
Okay.
little mini monologues at the beginning before the guest interview. Mm-hmm. And he's got a bunch of stand-up specials on Netflix. And he just recorded another one, which should come out hopefully soon.
Awesome.
But he sits on a stool and he reads from his notes and stuff, and he references his notes. So he's kind of a stand-up, but he's kind of a sit-down comedian. But
Stand up, sit down.
yeah, and he works through his emotional issues on stage.
yes, yeah.
So it's not just purely joke. There's a lot of callbacks and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's funny. I even enjoyed his podcast that you introduced me to. And also he has a show on Netflix called Glow.
Yes.
Did you watch it?
I have not watched season 3 yet.
Okay, yeah, I got to the end of season 2 and same thing. I don't even think I watched the last one of season 2, but that's also quite funny.
He's great.
Yeah.
And he was just in the Joker movie.
Is that right?
He just had a little short scene with Robert De Niro. And the funny thing about that, actually, is that on his podcast, he's been not making fun of, but the nerds. The people who are the geeks who are really into
Geek shaming, maybe?
kind of a little bit of geek shaming.
Okay.
All the people who are into the Marvel movies,
Yeah.
and then he shows up in a comic book movie. So he's like, "Yeah, I know, I get it,
That's funny.
but it was a chance to work with De Niro. I had
Yeah.
to." So
That's cool.
so he's trying to change his attitude a little bit and not be so hard on things he doesn't understand.
Wow.
But speaking of Marc Maron,
Yeah?
I've been trying to work this into a podcast episode for months now, and since we're talking about comedians and his podcast,
Right.
he did an episode where he interviewed Tony Shalhoub, who played Monk, and he was also in Wings.
Okay,
that
yeah,
guy.
yep.
And before the interview started, he was talking about his cats. He's always talking about his cats, and I think they were sick or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I downloaded the episode, and I wanted to talk about this particular scene on the podcast.
Yeah.
I'm going to play the clip at the end of this episode, actually.
Okay.
But he was so emotional, it actually made me stop walking. And it was bringing tears to my eyes because he's always very emotional on his episodes. He's very heartfelt about a lot of different things.
Okay, so your favorite comedian made you cry.
Yes. Yeah, I guess he did. And I actually had to stop walking because
wow.
it was that powerful.
Aw,
Yeah, I know.
that's sad.
And it was around the time I was having my existential crisis too, so I was more prone to emotional
Right.
things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll play that clip
Okay.
at the end of this episode so our listeners can hear it because it's pretty awesome
Yeah.
and
Cool.
intense. But do you have a joke for me?
I can have a joke for you. So, did you hear about the restaurant on the moon?
I did not.
Great food, no atmosphere.
No.
Wah, wah.
Exactly. What else you got?
Let's see.
My son Bishop, he loves these dad jokes.
Yeah?
They're horrible.
I really like the when you see the videos of two people telling each other jokes to see who can get the other one to laugh.
Oh yes, that's always
Yeah.
good too.
It's funny. All right. So, how many apples grow on a tree?
All of them?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Nice.
Want to hear a joke about paper?
Okay.
Never mind, it's terrible.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Why did the coffee file a police report?
I don't know.
It got mugged.
Oh God. Okay. So, two cats are having a swimming race. One is called 1, 2, 3. The other 1, 2, 3. Which cat won?
What?
So there's two cats having a race.
1, 2, 3, and un deux, trois?
Yeah, which is French for
Yeah,
1, 2,
3.
Yeah.
So which cat won?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3 because 1, 2, 3 cat sank. For our non-French listeners, that means 1, 2, 3 cat sank.
Yeah.
5, 4, 5. Yeah. It's
He
funny.
sank.
It's awful.
It's still funny.
And here's one. Why do people in Athens hate getting up early?
Why?
Because dawn is tough on Greece. Right?
Yeah.
Awful.
Oh my goodness. Okay. We just had Halloween last week. Why don't skeletons ever go trick or treating?
I don't know.
Because they have no body to go with.
Oh.
I know these are so lame, but I freaking love them.
Okay, here's one you'll like.
'Kay.
Here's one.
'Kay.
Okay, so 2 cowboys were lost in the desert and were starving hungry. Look, says one cowboy, it's a bacon tree. We're saved. With his last dying breath, he says, it's not a bacon tree, it's a ham bush.
God. Ambush. Oh my goodness. So, can you tell me a really funny movie that you've seen lately?
A really funny movie that
Yeah.
I've seen lately.
Or maybe if you haven't seen one lately, like what's a favorite comedy of yours?
Oh, well, Galaxy Quest is hilarious.
Galaxy Quest?
Yes, it's got Tim
Okay.
Allen in it and the aforementioned Tony Shalhoub.
Okay.
And it's basically a riff on the Star Trek geek phenomenon. So it's a bunch of people who were in the show called Galaxy Quest.
Okay.
They're all has-beens. They're at a convention. Everybody's making fun of the Tim Allen character, who is a William Shatner parody
Okay.
kind of guy.
Yeah. Based on sort of kind of.
And real aliens come along and actually need them for a mission.
Okay.
And it's hilarious. It
Cool.
it came out in 1999,
Oh.
but it's awesome.
I haven't seen that one.
You should. I've got a copy upstairs.
Of course you
Of course I do. Yes. What about
course
you?
you
What
do.
about you? Any good comedy shows?
I don't know. Just to remind listeners, I have a terrible, terrible memory.
You do. You really do.
It's awful. It's frustrating. Anyway, it's about my medications, I think. But, so even if I did see one, I wouldn't necessarily remember the name of it. The other night we watched one called Instant Family.
Okay.
It's with, used to be a rapper. He's really built.
Ice Cube,
No, he's white.
Vanilla Ice,
Oh, for fuck's sakes.
Snow.
No. Anyway, it was funny. It was funny. And I expected it to be more a family style movie because in the movie they're adopting kids and stuff. But no, it was like some really good humor in it.
Netflix.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Watched Coming to America not too long ago.
Oh my goodness.
I know it's from 1988, but it's still
Very
hilarious.
old. Yeah. Yeah. And Eddie Murphy, yeah, so another one that's on Netflix is Delirious.
Oh yes, that's a long time ago.
Yeah.
And speaking of people we haven't heard from in a while, Arsenio Hall has a comedy special on
Yes.
Netflix.
Yes.
I think it's called Classy and Sassy or something. I've watched
Yeah.
half of it because I had to go.
Okay.
His timing isn't the best, and he's talking about stuff that happened way too long ago.
Okay.
But he's mildly amusing.
Yeah. Kind of okay.
It's all right.
Okay.
I haven't finished it yet, but I'll get back to it.
Yeah, I was contemplating watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think my husband would appreciate that as much, but I haven't gotten to it yet. But I
Okay.
definitely will. I do
Yeah.
want to see it. So I've just used my phone, and the comedian I was talking about earlier that I said I'd come back to is Dave Chappelle.
Oh yes, he's awesome.
He is so awesome. I'm just trying to scroll through here, seeing if there's any others. Ricky Gervais, of course, is really funny. Chris, I don't know how to say that last name. Delia, I guess?
Oh, Dalia.
Delia. He's funny.
Yes, I watched a thing from him not too long ago.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff on Netflix.
Yes. Between the Two Ferns. Sorry, going back to a movie now. Have you watched that one?
It's in my list to watch.
It is pretty. You're going to really enjoy it.
Zach Galifianakis. film.
Yes, he's great. He's really good. And there's a couple other good comedians in there.
We're not talking about any female comedians.
We're not. Do you watch any female comedians?
I have done.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember any of their names. I remember, Ali Wong was pretty funny. She has a couple specials.
I wasn't that fond of her.
No?
And I don't really know why. Anyway, I didn't like it. And I haven't really... I did watch another one.
Another one, another female.
Yeah, another female. She's been in this is a guessing game. She's been in a lot of movies. She's got long blonde hair. She's not a tiny girl.
Amy Schumer.
Yeah.
She's
I
awesome.
liked
She's
her.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes.
I really liked hers. She did it. I think she was pregnant too when she did hers, eh?
I think she was.
Yeah.
Yeah, something about leather. It was called Leather something, her special.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly what.
That's on Netflix as
It
well.
is. It is. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoy watching those, and usually I will get high before I watch them.
Nice. I think that's important.
Yeah. We just did a high five. I'm not sure why.
I don't know why either. But so
it just happened.
so because we didn't do much research,
Right.
it turns out we actually don't know a lot about comedians.
I guess not.
Apparently we don't. We like them.
Yeah.
We can't remember any of their names.
You know what I think?
Huh.
I think that the listeners should message us, send an email, whatever, and let us know what their favorite comedians are, because I would love to be introduced to more, because there are so many out there
There are.
that I just don't know about.
Yeah, and you can't know them all.
Right.
But I will finish up with another joke that I have
Oh, yes, okay.
that I tell people that I think it's hilarious, but nobody else seems to.
Okay.
All right, so there's two trees in the forest,
Okay.
and there's a little sapling growing in between them.
Uh-huh.
So the one tree turns to the other tree, and he says, "Hey, do you think that little sapling is a son of a beech, or is it a son of a birch?" Because the one tree is a birch and the other is a beech tree, right? And so the one tree says, "Well, I think it's a son of a beech," and the other one's like, "I don't know, I think it's a son of a birch." So just then, there's a woodpecker flying by, and the beech tree says, "Hey, Mr. Woodpecker, can you settle an argument for us? Can you tell us what kind of sapling that is?" And so the woodpecker comes down and starts pecking at the tree, and he's like, this is good. And he's pecking at it a little bit more, a little bit more. So finally, the birch tree can't stand it anymore, and he's like, "Mr. Woodpecker, what kind of tree is that little sapling? Is it a son of a beech, or is it a son of a birch?" And the woodpecker says, "I'm sorry to disappoint you, fellas, but this is the best piece of ash I've ever had."
Wow.
Funny or not funny?
Kind of funny.
A little bit funny,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best telling I've ever done.
Yeah, it was good.
Not bad?
Good job.
Thank you.
Do you have another one?
No,
No.
that's it. I had that and the screw in the light bulb joke
Yeah.
that I have ready
Yeah.
in my head at all times,
Just in case.
just in case.
You can pull it out. Everybody should have a couple jokes like that.
Well, that's right.
I don't.
No?
No.
Oh.
I don't have enough room in my brain.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Madame.
Madame who?
Madame Foot's caught in the door. Open it up.
Okay.
That's one of the earliest knock, knock jokes I remember.
Yeah?
Yep.
Oh,
So that's all I got.
okay.
So that's a little bit of a comedy special from the Soul Forge team this week.
I don't know what that was, but I'm glad to be back.
You know what we totally forgot to do?
Oh. Oh, ESO Network.
We forgot to play a promo for another podcast here on the ESO Network.
We can do it now.
Let's do that right now.
Okay, thanks.
You're listening to Nerdlanta.
Hey, what's up? This is
Master Blazer.
and Walt Pittman from
Atlanta Roller Derby.
Hey, what's up? It's Mike, Brian, Eric, and Brandon from Robot Party.
Hey, what's up? This is Catherine Barsonistis from the nerdy food blog, thegluttonousgeek.com.
Hey, this is Rory, aka Catlanta.
It's Atlanta's only live nerdy podcast, available now on the ESO Network.
We are Nerdlanta.
Wasn't that awesome?
It was good.
That was a great trailer.
You picked a good one.
I thought I did. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's pretty much our episode for this week.
Okay.
A little bit of a lighthearted turn.
Yep. Little, I don't know. It was just kind of a mishmash. But,
It's just good to have you back on the show.
Thanks.
Hey, my pleasure. It's always good to have you here.
Aw, thanks. I'm
Yeah.
glad to be here.
Good, good. So hopefully we'll get you coming around a little bit more often.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, we're going to play some end credits. Mm-hmm. We're going to play the monologue from Marc Maron from the Tony Shalhoub episode that made me cry.
Oh,
And then that'll be our episode for this week.
sounds good.
All right. So listeners, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Make sure you check out the Facebook page for all the memes of positivity that I share.
Yes, those are great. I really enjoy them.
Yeah, do they help? Mm-hmm. Oh, good. And until next time, thanks for coming by. And remember, you're never too broken to start over. This has been another episode of the Soul Forge Podcast. Find us on Twitter at SoulForgePod or email the show via soulforgepodcast@gmail.com. Soulforge is a production of Shawn Vanderloo and Friends. You can find Shawn on Twitter and Instagram at Darth Vaderloo. Remember to visit soulforgepodcast.com for all of our social media links and share the show with everyone you know. Thanks for stopping by the Forge. We'll keep the fires lit until your next visit.
You know, I got to tell you what's going on because this is audio. Some of you know me very well from listening to me, and I don't want to sound heavy-hearted or fucked up to you in a way where you're like, what's up? But I am heavy-hearted today, and I know it's Monday, and I don't want to, bum anybody out. But, things happen. Obviously the world is out of our control, sure. There's horror stories every day all around us. But my little kitten, Buster Kitten, is sick, and he's very sick, and he's in the hospital. Now, I don't know. When this stuff happens, I always think about other people with bigger problems, with real illness and family members and themselves, a tragedy, whatever. But this is my life, and this kitten, I've gotten to love this kitten, and he's in the hospital. He's sick, and I don't know what the fuck is wrong with him, but I do know exactly what's wrong with him. I don't know really how it happened. A few days ago, he was throwing up, and he threw up a few times during the day, and he wasn't eating. But these are cats. I've been dealing with cats for years, and it happens sometimes. And I didn't know whether I should take him in. I didn't take him in, and then that night I got home. His energy was okay, but he still was not eating, and I loaded him up. I called the emergency vet in Eagle Rock, and I was like, should I bring him in? And of course they're like, yeah, bring him in. And then I looked at him and I said, I think I'm gonna just do it in the morning. And because he'd had some sort of stomach thing before, and the next morning I got up early, and I don't know, So I brought him into my vet, and there's a new vet there, thank God. And, he was really good, this guy, Dr. Ram. I told him about the stomach thing. He looked at the past files, and then he did blood tests. And, he comes out, he says, look, this cat, is in kidney failure right now. And I'm like, what the fuck? This is a 2.5-year-old cat. This is a, little black cat. And I'm like, what do we do? And, he said, well, it's Friday. He's going to need 24-hour care, or we got to put him on fluids and antibiotics. We don't know what it is. And then I started thinking, like, did he eat some of this poison shit? And then I started thinking, like, wait a minute, he was kind of licking his dick the other day, last Sunday, and I think there might have been bloody pee in the box, but sometimes Fonda does that. I didn't know if it was blood. I didn't know if it was, shit. I don't know, man. I got 3 cats over here. And I'm not trying to let myself off the hook. The best apparently that can happen is that it's an actual infection and it's not toxic, and that hopefully, I don't know. I'm waiting to hear today. So I took him to another vet that has 24-hour care, and and we got him on it, and he's been over there. And I don't have children, I don't have a lot of debt, I don't live a big life, and I've been critical in my life about people who spend what seems like a lot of money on cats, but look, I'm 55, I'm going to spend a little money to see if I can save this guy, so I'm waiting to hear. I just it's weird what you go through when you're a cat owner or a pet owner, like especially one with no kids and not a ton of successful relationships behind you. Why, we get very emotionally invested, in these animals. And I try to think about that because people are like, they're like your kids. Well, they're not really like kids. They're very different than kids, obviously. He's sick. Buster is. He's in intensive care, and I'm not sitting here thinking I had a whole future planned out for that cat. I wanted to get him into a good kindergarten so he could go to a good elementary school or whatever, and I wanted him to win track meets and stuff. I didn't, I had none of those expectations. But that doesn't make it any less upsetting. It does in a sense, because there are plenty of cats out there and you build a relationship with these things. But what I was thinking about this morning is that, some of us who own animals, that's what we can handle emotionally. That's not sad. It's not weird. Sometimes maybe it's just a reflection of what we know about ourselves. Some of us are not built for the child rearing in the long haul. Maybe we could adapt to it, but there's something about, having a pet where the emotional connection is manageable. It's something we can handle. It's relatively consistent and it can last a long time, and it's deep and it's honest, and it doesn't change a whole lot. And if you're lucky, you get to grow old with your stupid animals. I mean, I got Monkey and LaFonda in there, and those are the longest relationships I've had. It's been 15 years, and, they've changed, but it's just consistency, and you can take care of them. And the thing about cats more than dogs is that it's not always perfect, because you realize, they don't really need you that much in some ways. They're not loyal. So you have an understanding, an emotional understanding. And I was building one with Buster, and, he was a very unique cat. Is. I hope... I'm waiting to hear. And, but, he fetches, he's unique looking, he's kind of peculiar and smart, and, he's an energetic guy. He is. We went over and visited him yesterday, and then I'm like, am I that guy? But so, yeah, I am that guy. I'm going to go visit my fucking cat at the hospital to see how he's doing. So, I don't know. Hoping for the best. I'm hoping for the best. I'll know today. And this is just, this is my life. And it's like, it's different, but it's weird. That moment that I had that sense that, this is why we have cats. Because, it's what we can handle. In that way. So, but I wasn't going to read this email because I don't know really what it says about me or what it is really, but it has some bearing on what's happening right now. How do I transition to an ad? Shit. Maybe I should read the email after and pull it together a little here. And I'll tell you, a lot of you people don't even know. It's okay, but someone came up to me last night and he's like, who's Boomer? If you listen all the way to the end of this show and you hear me say Boomer lives, people are like, some people come up to me and go, how's Boomer doing? And it's like, Boomer's not around. What does that mean? And I realize that we've been doing this so long, over almost 1,000 episodes, that some people don't know, what Boomer lives means. And many of you who have been with me the whole time have been through a lot of stuff with these cats and other cats. When I lived at the old house, it was a little more rural, and there was a lot of cats coming and going. And, I had Deaf Black Cat, who for years, that deaf, weird, feral cat that I had, I used to feed. And he was, he ended violently, with another animal. He was killed by a coyote, but it was a decade of relationship with this cat that I couldn't even touch. And then there was a Big Head, is still around out there. He started coming around. And then there was Scaredy Cat, who, got hit by a car eventually, another feral. And then Scaredy 2 was around. And then there was one that came around the house back at the old house from, a decade ago, and then showed up 8 years later just to die under my house. And then there was another one that used to hang out on my porch, a wild cat that was clearly ill that I had to put down. And all through this, I had Monkey and LaFonda. And then earlier, when I was with my second wife, Mishna, she had Moxie, who was a great cat, fat little cat that used to fetch things. And, in my sadness and anger during the divorce, I made her take Moxie away, which was probably a mistake. I probably could have used Moxie. But Boomer, for a little backstory, and this is a transition, Boomer was a cat. When I moved from New York to Los Angeles in 2002, I went to a shelter with Mishna, and I looked around at all these old cats It looked like people had just left him places, but there was this one skittish, fucked up, crazy ginger cat, and I'm like, that's my guy. The nut. Couldn't even get him in a cage. I now realize he was a feral cat that someone brought in because of, my other cats were feral. But Boomer, eventually somewhat got socialized, and he was with me for like, I don't know, almost a decade. We moved him to the other house. He used to pee on everything, and then he was outside. So for years, Boomer sort of held up the porch and was out there with the wild things, and he was a very unique cat. He had a very sweet voice, and I kind of regret having put him outside, but he just peed on everything. He peed where we ate, my shoes, everywhere. So he lived outside, and he lived out there for years, and at some point he disappeared, and I don't know what happened to him. Sometimes I think that's harder. Sometimes it's better. I just assume that maybe he went on to a better life, and that's where Boomer comes from. I guess he disappeared probably like 8 years ago, but that's where that comes from. That's a short history of me and the cats. It is what it is, and this is life.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.